A ray of sunlight slid across Oksana's face, causing her to wince. The clock read 7 a.m. Saturday, a day she'd planned to spend in peace and quiet, enjoying the rare solitude of her apartment. Her husband, Roma, was supposed to go fishing with friends, but a phone call ruined her plans. Oksana Nikolaevna, this is from the hospital. Your father's taken a turn for the worse. The doctors say he doesn't have long to live. The world seemed to stand still. Oksana felt the earth shifting beneath her feet. Just a month ago, she'd buried her mother, Vera Pavlovna, who died of a stroke. It was her second stroke and her body couldn't cope. And now her father, who 4 months ago was diagnosed with terminal pancreatic cancer. Nikolai Andreevich had always been a strong, wiry man. He worked his entire life as an engineer at a factory, and after retiring, he took up the renovation of their country house. It was his project, his brainchild. A house in the suburbs of Volgograd, with a large plot, a garden, and a small pond. Oksana spent countless evenings with her parents on the veranda of this house watching the sunset and listening to her father's stories. When she arrived at the hospital, her father was still conscious, but very weak. His once strong body had withered and grown gaunt. His sunken eyes retained their former clarity, but they betrayed the pain and fatigue of battling a relentless illness. The doctor said it was a matter of days, perhaps hours. Oksana spent the entire night at her father's bedside, holding his hand. By morning, Nikolai Andreevich was gone. The funeral took place on a cold October day. The gray sky, drizzling rain, and black umbrellas created an oppressive atmosphere. Roma stood next to Oksana, his arm around her shoulders. On the other hand, her childhood friend Marina was the only person besides her husband who truly supported her during those days. "Be strong, Oksanochka," Marina whispered, squeezing her hand. "Your parents lived a good life, and they will always be with you." Oksana nodded, swallowing tears. She was 30 years old, and she was left completely alone. Without her parents, who had always been her supports, her back. A week after the funeral, the will was read. It turned out Nikolai Andreevich had thought everything through in advance. Oksana was inheriting a country house with all its belongings. A small savings and an old but well-maintained car, a Toyota. "I knew your father for many years," said the notary, a gray-haired man with kind eyes. "He was very proud of you," Oksana said, "that you were his greatest achievement in life." These words reopened a wound that had barely healed. Oksana burst into tears right there in the notary's office. She and Roma drove home in silence. Her husband sat behind the wheel, frowning at the road. "What are we going to do with the house?" he finally asked. "I don't know," Oksana answered honestly. "There's no time to think." Her story with Roma began 10 years ago when Oksana was in her final year of college. Roma, tall, dark-haired, with a charming smile, worked at a car dealership. Oksana went there with her father, who had decided to change cars. While Nikolai Andreevich researched options, Roma entertained Oksana with conversation. And in the evening, he called and somehow got her phone number. Oksana fell in love quickly and completely. Roma courted her beautifully, brought her flowers, and drove her to beautiful places in his car. 6 months later, he proposed. Oksana's parents were delighted. He was a reliable, hardworking man without bad habits. They had a modest but cheerful wedding. However, meeting her mother-in-law, Galina Petrovna, left a bad taste in her mouth. A commanding woman with a penetrating gaze, she seemed to be assessing Oksana from head to toe, and it was clear she wasn't appreciating her. "So skinny," Oksana heard her whisper to Lyudmila, her aunt, and pale. "I don't know what kind of grandchildren I'll have with a daughter-in-law like that." Lyudmila, Roma's older sister, was the complete opposite of Oksana. A loud, striking blonde with a curvaceous figure. She worked as a salesperson in a clothing store, but carried herself as if she were, at the very least, the director of a boutique. The first years of their marriage were happy. Roma and Oksana rented a one-room apartment. Both worked, saving for their own place. Oksana got a job as an accountant in a small company. The salary wasn't particularly high, but it was stable. Problems began when Lyudmila divorced her husband and was left alone with a young son. Galina Petrovna insisted that her son support his sister financially, and Roma couldn't refuse his mother. "She's my sister," he told Oksana. "She has a child, I can't leave them." Oksana understood, but the share of the family budget spent on Lyudmila and her son was growing. And then a second nephew appeared. Lyudmila remarried, had another child, divorced again, and again needed help. By the 7th year of marriage, Oksana began to notice that Roma had changed. He was staying late at work more and more often, became irritable. Sometimes he smelled of alcohol. Oksana tried to talk, but only received harsh answers. "You don't." "My job is stressful," he shouted. "And you with your complaints." What complaints? Oksana didn't understand. She simply wanted to return to their previous relationship. Consulted with her mother, Vera Pavlovna, but she only sighed. "Daughter, all men are like this. Be patient. It's just midlife crisis." And then Mom had her first stroke. Oksana rushed between the hospital, work, and home. Roma, meanwhile, seemed to have become even more distant. It turned out that Lyudmila had married for the third time, given birth for the third time, and was already hinting that this marriage was also falling apart. Vera Pavlovna recovered, but became significantly weaker. A year later, she had a second stroke, which left no chance. At her mother's funeral, Oksana noticed something strange. Roma, his mother, and sister were standing apart and quietly talking about something, periodically glancing at her and her father. And there was no sympathy in these glances. There was some kind of calculation. After her mother's death, Oksana began to visit her father more often, country house. Nikolai Andreevich held on, but it was obvious how much he was suffering without his wife, with whom he had lived for more than 40 years. "You know, daughter," he said. One day as they sat on the veranda, "I keep thinking, what would have I had left first? Mom wouldn't have been able to cope with the house alone, and you would have been exhausted being torn between her and your family. So maybe it's for the best that it turned out this way." A month later, my father complained of stomach pains. The examination, which revealed a terrible diagnosis. The doctors immediately said that the chances were practically zero. We can only ease the suffering. "Don't worry, Dad," Oksana said, holding his hand. "Medicine does not stand still. We will find the best specialists." But Nikolai Andreevich only shook his head. "No need, my dear. I lived a good life. I had a beloved wife. I have a wonderful daughter. I built a house with my own hands. What more could I want? Only I won't get to see my grandchildren." This was the only reproach Oksana ever heard from her father. She and Roma never had children. At first, they wanted to get on their feet and buy their home then, and then there was no time. Relations with her husband cooled, and the money was going to help his sister and her growing offspring. Her father was fading before our eyes. The disease was rapidly destroying his body. 2 months after the diagnosis, he had to be hospitalized. And 2 months later, that very phone call rang, forcing Oksana to drop everything and rush to the hospital. Saying goodbye to her father, she thought about how suddenly life ends. Just recently, her parents were full of strength and plans, and now they are gone. And she was left alone with her husband, who was becoming more and more of a stranger. A month after the funeral, Oksana visited her father's empty house alone for the first time. Roma refused to accompany her, citing some business. The house greeted her with silence and the smell of an uninhabited space. Oksana opened the windows, letting in fresh air. She walked through the rooms, touching things that held the warmth of her parents' hands. In her father's office, she found a thick folder with documents. Nikolai Andreevich was a meticulous man and kept everything in perfect order. Here were the documents for the house, the car, insurance, documents, utility bills, and a small envelope with the inscription, Oksana. Inside was a letter written in her father's neat handwriting. Dear daughter, if you are reading this letter, it means I am no longer with you. Don't be too sad. Your mother and I lived a happy life and were always proud of you. This house is now completely yours. Do with it what you see fit. Sell it if you want. It's a burden to you. Or come here to get away from the hustle and bustle of the city. Or live here permanently. You've always loved this house as much as Mom and I. The only thing I ask is that you be happy. Don't let anyone take away from you what's rightfully yours. And remember that a real family is those who love you and care for you and not just share your last name. I love you, Dad. Oksana read the letter over and over, feeling a lump in her throat. It was as if her father had foreseen something, as if he wanted to warn her. But about what? She received the answer to this question a week later when Roma returned home later than usual. He smelled of alcohol, and his eyes were feverishly shining. Oksana, I have something to talk to you about, he began, plopping down in a chair. I'm listening. She tensed, sensing something bad. So, anyway, Roma scratched his head. You need to bring my sister and her 3 children in your car to the country house you inherited. And while I'm there, I'll pay off her loan with our money. Money. Oksana nearly collapsed after hearing this, but quickly collected herself. What do you mean, bring my sister and her children to my house? She asked as calmly as possible. Well, what do you mean? Roma was surprised. This daughter and her husband have completely split up. She has nowhere to live, and you have a whole house sitting empty. And how long is she planning on living there? Well, Roma hesitated. How long will it take? Maybe a year, maybe 2. Dad, we'll see what kind of loan you're planning on paying off for her. And what you mean by that, using our money. Oh, she took out a consumer loan for repairs. The bank is now jacking up the interest. We need to pay it off immediately, otherwise the debt collectors will come. And we have a lot of money now after, well, you understand, your father left you his savings. Do you want to spend the money my father left me to pay off your sister's loan, and then move her and her 3 children into my house? Oksana said, slowly, feeling rage boiling inside. Well, what's wrong with that? Roma sincerely didn't understand. We're a family. We should help each other. And when did I need your help? When my mother was sick. And then my father. Where was your family solidarity? Oksana felt like she was about to explode. Come on. Roma waved him off. I worked. I couldn't give it all up. And now, you're ready to give it all up for your sister? Oksana stood up. You know what, Roma? No. Her husband was taken aback. No. It means no. I won't give the money my father left me to your sister, and I won't let her live in my house. This is my house, my inheritance. What are you saying? Roma jumped up. His face turned purple. You've gone completely nuts. What do you mean, no? We've already decided everything. Who is it? Us? Oksana asked quietly. Well, me, Mom, Liuda. And you forgot to ask me. Oksana felt a strange calm. Or did you think I would meekly agree with everything you decided? Listen, why are you acting so blunt? Roma switched to an ingratiating tone. So what if Liuda and the kids will live in the house? What does it matter to you? You hardly ever go there anyway. And the kids need fresh air. And what if I want to live there myself? Oksana suddenly asked. Why? Roma was genuinely surprised. We have an apartment. It's not our apartment. It's your mother's apartment, which she rents to us, Oksana reminded. And I want to live in my own house. Come on. Roma started getting angry again. What difference does it make whose apartment it is? The main thing is that we live here, and the house is empty. Do you really feel sorry for your nephews? I don't feel sorry for my nephews, Oksana snapped. I feel sorry for your sister, who has never hidden her feelings for me and who, I'm sure, won't move out of my house in a year or two. We're here. She will never move out if I let her move in now. What are you talking about? Roma exploded. What won't move out? We'll come to an agreement. We'll formalize everything. Like a lease and agreement for gratuitous use. Oksana smiled bitterly. And you expect me to believe that your sister will honor the terms of the agreement? Why are you picking on that sister? Roma, Liuda is a normal woman. She just hasn't had luck with men. Maybe it's not about men? Oksana asked quietly. Maybe it's about her. About the fact that she's used to living at someone else's expense. First on her parents, next, then on her husband's, now on yours, and now he wants to climb on mine too. You know what? Roma came right up to her. His eyes were bloodshot. I'm tired of hearing this. Either you do as I say, or what? Oksana didn't back down an inch. Will you hit me? Go ahead. Just remember that I'll immediately call the police and file a report, and then file for divorce. You? Roma slammed his fist against the wall. Damn, I'm going to my mom's. And you think about your behavior. He grabbed his jacket and ran out of the apartment, slamming the door loudly. Oksana slowly sank onto the couch. Her hands were shaking. Her heart was pounding like crazy. She had just fought back against her husband for the first time in her life. And it was strange, scary. And at the same time, it was like a weight had been lifted from her soul. An hour later, the phone rang. It was her mother-in-law. Oksana, what's going on? Galina Petrovna began without a greeting. Roma arrived in tears. He said, you refuse to help Liudochka? Aren't you ashamed? She has children. Hello, Galitrovna Harur. Oksana answered calmly. Yes, I refuse to give my money to pay off your daughter's loan, and I refuse to let her live in my house. What house are you talking about? The mother-in-law was indignant. You and Roma, family, everything is shared. And in general, this is simply outrageous. Such a big house, and no one lives there. And Liudochka and the children have nowhere to hide. If you're so worried about your daughter, why don't you take her in? Oksana, you have a 3-room apartment. There's enough room for everyone. What? The mother-in-law choked with indignation. How dare you? I'm an elderly person. I need peace and quiet. not screaming children? I understand. Oksana nodded, although her interlocutor couldn't see it. I need peace and quiet, too, so there won't be any screaming children in my house. You ungrateful thing, Galina Petrovna was calling it. My son married you, did you a favor, and now you turn up your nose. You know what? Oksana hung up without listening to the end. A minute later, it rang again. This time, it was Lyudmila. Hello, my dear. The lady's voice was cloyingly sweet. How are you? Haven't seen you for a while. Hello, Lyuda. Oksana answered evenly. What do I owe you? Oh, I was just thinking. Let's meet and talk, Lyudmila continued. Otherwise, these men always get everything mixed up, say too much shit. And you and I, smart girls, will come to an agreement. Oksana asked wearily. About you moving into my house with 3 children, one? Why so rude? Zulovka drawled. We're family. After all, we should help each other. Forgive me, Lyuda, but I'm not going to discuss this, Oksana. Snapota. Not now. Not later. The answer, no. She turned off the phone again, and then turned it off completely. Her head was splitting with pain. Her temples were pounding. But at the same time, Oksana felt a strange lightness, as if she had thrown off a heavy backpack she had been lugging around for many years. In the morning, she woke up with a clear head and a firm decision. She quickly gathered the essentials, documents, laptop, and wrote a vacation application. She had more than a month of unused days. She called a taxi and went to her father's house. She spent the next 2 weeks far from the hustle and bustle of the city, enjoying the peace and quiet of her parents' home. Only occasionally did she call Marina, telling her friend about the latest events. So what are you going to do now? Marina asked during one of their conversations. I don't know, Oksana answered honestly. For now, I just want to be alone, to think. And Roma, he tried to contact you. He called many times. I didn't pick up. Then I got a message. You'll regret this. He's threatening. Marina worried. Maybe I should call the police? I don't think he's capable of anything truly dangerous, Oksana sighed. More likely, these are empty words born of resentment. He's always been weak-willed. 2 weeks later, Oksana returned to the city. The apartment greeted her with silence and desolation. It was obvious Roma hadn't been here since their argument. Oksana gathered up the remaining personal belongings, documents, books, everything that was valuable to her. The rest could stay here. After all, most of the furniture and appliances belonged to her mother-in-law. That evening, the doorbell rang. Roma stood in the doorway, haggard, unshaven, with bags under his eyes. Can I come in? He asked hesitantly. This is my apartment too, after all. Of course. Oksana stepped aside. I was just about to leave. Where to? Roma looked around, noticing the packed bags from my father's house. Or rather, my house. Your house. Oksana, let's talk. Roma took a step towards her. I was wrong. I got carried away. What should we talk about, Roma? She asked wearily. Your mother and sister made it clear that they consider me obligated to provide for Lyuda and her children. You supported them. What is there to talk about? I was out of my mind, you understand? Roma ran his hand through his hair. Lyuda wound up Mom. Mom wound up me. I shouldn't have spoken to you like that. I agree. I shouldn't have. Oksana nodded. But it happened. And you know what I've learned in these 2 weeks? You and I have been strangers for a long time, Roma. You live your life, I live mine. We simply share the living space, like neighbors, and not even very friendly neighbors. Stop it. Roma took another step toward her. We love each other, right? Right. Oksana looked him in the eye for the first time in the entire conversation. Do you really think so? When was the last time you asked how I was doing, how I lived, what I thought about? When was the last time we simply talked? Not about everyday life, not about money, not about your sister, but just about each other. Roma was silent, his eyes downcast. Well, I don't remember either. Oksana nodded. Because that hadn't happened for a long time. We just exist side by side. And frankly, I'm tired of living like this. What do you mean? Roma tensed up. I'm filing for divorce, Oksana answered calmly. Tomorrow I'm going to see a lawyer. Everything will be civilized, I promise. We don't have much jointly acquired property. There's not much to divide. You're crazy, Roma cried. What divorce? Because of what? Because of one fight. Not because of a fight, Roma. Oksana shook her head. Because we've become strangers. Because you're ready to put your sister's interests above mine. Because I no longer feel happy with you. And I think you don't either. But we can fix everything. Bleeding note appeared in Roma's voice. Let's try. Let's start over. It's too late. Oksana took her bag. I don't want to try it anymore. I don't want to start over. I just want to live my life. And I advise you to do the same. But what about the house? Roma suddenly asked. And Oksana heard greed in his voice. You're not going to sell it? And then she understood. He hadn't come to make peace. He had come to try to maintain control over her property, over an inheritance. So that's my business, she snapped. Whether I sell it or not is up to me, but for now I'll live there. Alone? In such a remote place, Roma tried to feign concern, but it came off as false. It's dangerous. No more dangerous than living with someone who threatens to make me regret my decisions, Oksana replied calmly. Goodbye, Roma. Your lawyer can contact mine. She left the apartment, breathing easier with every step, as if she'd thrown off the heavy shackle she'd imposed on herself years ago. 3 months later, the divorce was final. Roma didn't interfere when he realized Oksana was determined. He only tried to sue for part of the house's value, claiming he'd contributed to its upkeep during the marriage. But Oksana's lawyer easily proved that the house had been inherited after the marriage had effectively ended, and the court dismissed the claim. Oksana's mother-in-law and Zalovaga declared war on her, spreading gossip among mutual friends, writing nasty things on social media, and even inciting a distant relative who worked in the accounting department of Oksana's company to cause her problems. But Oksana persevered. She changed her phone number, deleted her social media accounts, and focused entirely on her new life. And her new life was slowly getting better. Oksana continued to work for the same company, but now she worked remotely, coming into the office only once a week. She spruced up her father's house, hiring a construction crew for minor repairs, planted new flower beds in the garden, and got a dog, a large, friendly dog from a shelter, whom she named Rex. One day, while walking Rex around the neighborhood, she met a neighbor, a man in his 40s who had recently bought a house nearby. Andre was an architect working remotely, just like Oksana. A chance encounter blossomed into friendship, and then... But that's another story entirely. Roma, according to rumors, moved in with his mother. Lyudmila and the children would occasionally visit, leaving them with their grandmother, while she went on yet another trip with yet another promising suitor. The children grew up abandoned to their own devices, like weeds in an abandoned garden. Oksana sometimes thought of them with sympathy, but she knew she couldn't help, even if she wanted to. Lyudmila would never accept her help. 5 years passed. Oksana sat on the veranda of her house, admiring the sunset. Beside her was Andrei, who over the years had become not just a neighbor, but a beloved man, a husband. At their feet, an aged but still vigorous Rex dozed. And inside, in a small room, their 2-year-old daughter slept. Vera, named after the grandmother she was never destined to meet. Oksana was grateful for all the trials she'd endured. They had made her stronger, taught her to stand up for her boundaries, value herself and her happiness. You should bring my sister and her 3 children in your car to the country house you inherited, and while I'm there, I'll use our money to pay for it. She needs a loan. She recalled her ex-husband's words and smiled. How naive she'd been then, how insecure, how afraid she'd been. Of offending, of refusing, of upsetting. But life had taught her the most important thing. No one should give away their property, their money, their happiness to those who don't respect their boundaries. Hey, KK, sometimes you just need to say no to start a new, happy life. Oksana glanced at her husband, and Andrei, as if sensing her gaze, smiled and squeezed her hand. That simple gesture held more love and understanding than all the words in the world. Thank you, Dad, Oksana said silently, looking at the sunset. For the house, for the inheritance, for the wisdom, and for teaching me to be strong. Thank you for listening to the end. If you found this story interesting, subscribe to the channel and like it so you don't see videos.